What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the FPU podcast. This is another car episode, so in advance, please excuse any of the beeping, honking, anything like that. I'm in the car on the way home from the Perform Better conference. Man, I love that conference. I've been grateful enough to be a speaker for 6 years now, but have been attending the conference since 2005, and I think it's the best fitness conference in the industry. It's just put together by some amazing people and amazing speakers, and really honored to be a part of it. I got to speak. I drove up on Wednesday, and I got to speak on day one, which was really cool because I had the rest of the conference just to kind of relax and hang out and catch up with old friends and see a bunch of SPF clients that were at the event as well. So it was super awesome to be there. My talk was all about marketing small group training, and actually it was probably one of my better talks that I've had. I got a lot of really good feedback about that specific one, and we did record it, so I will be posting the recording of the presentation on this podcast, so stay tuned for that. But the best part is just catching up with old friends and connecting with SPF members, and a couple notable people I saw there were my friends from Big Day Fitness, Bobby and Maria over at gym in Massachusetts. They are SPF members and have been with us for a few years now, and started at around $8,000 a month, or now are over $50,000 a month, and opening up their second location right now. They were showing me the pictures of the flooring and everything like that. They're in their pre-sale right now, and everything's going swimmingly for them. I saw my friend Chris Baguette, who's got a gym in Virginia Beach, brought his whole team there, got to meet a bunch of his trainers and his family that he brought there. He's a phenomenal guy and doing some really good work down in Virginia Beach. Also was an attendee at one of the last speaker schools that Thomas Plummer did. I saw my friend Greg Drab, who's got probably one of the most successful gyms in the country. He's been an SPF member, I think, since like 2018, a really long time. He's been in it. Sometimes I ask him, why are you still in this? You should be maybe teaching me what to do. But he's a super successful guy, and got to meet his staff and his family and everything like that. Really cool. And the last guy, this guy brought a ton of people. He had 15 trainers with him and staff members with him. Andrew Simpson from Players, and a phenomenal guy, phenomenal business owner, and just doing some really, really great work. Had some good bar conversations with Andrew about a whole bunch of stuff. So really cool that so many of the SPF members were in attendance at this conference. I know there's a few more that I'm possibly missing, but just love the energy, love the excitement that people have, especially on the way home, for implementing all the things that people learned. And speaking of that, this is the first time I've done this, where I did I called it free lunch and free business coaching, and I promoted it actually at my talk. And what I was going to do is buy lunch for people and then do some extra coaching consulting while I'm there. Might as well do a little more, help gym owners out as much as I can. And so we did that, and it was really, really cool, really interesting. We did it on Saturday. So it was the final day. Went and got some pizzas and just taught a bunch of things to gym owners. So one of the things I want to do is teach today is kind of some of the things I went over. I was having conversations with people from guys I had a great sit down with a guy from Connecticut that's doing some really, really big numbers, and got to talk, and we sat down for almost an hour, got to talking, and his biggest kind of thing he was struggling with is like kind of figuring out what's next. And then I had another conversation with another guy that hadn't started a business yet, and he didn't start a gym. He kind of wanted to start a gym. He kind of didn't trade. He just didn't know what to do. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He didn't know what was next for him. And it's kind of a common theme I see a lot is people are unclear, and it's not about being big or small. It's people are unclear, like, with what to do next. And so I kind of saw this. I mean, this was years ago that I saw this, and I created a bit of a formula to try to figure this out. And so this is kind of what I went through with the group at lunch. So I'll go over with you today. So I think it'll be helpful for you. And so if honestly, if you're following along, it might help to get pen and paper out because I got all this time, so I'm just yakking in the car. So get a piece of paper, pause this podcast and maybe get a piece of paper and pen out and take some notes while I'm talking through this. Okay. So what we're trying to do is figure out what's next. And just like you're driving in your car, if all of a sudden the windshield wiper is like filled with dirt and you can't see anything, it's really hard to see where you're going. And so that's kind of what we want in our business. We want to be able to like get some clarity and clear the windshield and be able to see if we can do the things we want to do to move forward. That was a big motorcycle. Okay. So the first thing I went over with them was, where are you today? What is your current reality? And whether you don't have a gym or you're thinking about starting a gym or whether you have a gym that's successful, everyone can go over this because everyone has a current reality. And your current reality is just, where are you today? And what I did to make it easier, and what I'll do for you today, what I did to make it easier for the people in the workshop, was I gave them kind of criteria for their current reality. Because I could ask you, what's your current reality right now? And you would just start randomly talking and saying things. Well, what I'm trying to do is give you a streamlined focus of your current reality. And so the first thing is, what is the current reality of the amount of money that you're making in your business on a revenue standpoint, right? And so revenue is the amount of sales that you make every month. There's a current reality to that. And, if you want to give me what it was this month or last month, or you want to give me the average of the year, whatever you want to say, but roughly that number is the current reality of your revenue. There's a current reality of the profit, right? And that is, how much of that revenue do you get to keep? And your profit and loss is going to tell you that. Your profit and loss statement is going to be the thing that tells you that. But it's a really, really important number to know. So if you're doing $10,000 in revenue, you kind of want to know how much of that you're actually making as profit, right? And so that's the second number. That's probably the third number was, what is your number of clients? How many customers do you have right now? What are the current customers? How many customers? Is it 100? Is it 50? Is it 200? How many current customers do you have right now? Next one was, what is the makeup currently of your staff? Do you have one trainer? Do you have 5 trainers? Do you have 10 trainers and 3 salespeople? Like, what do you have? What is the makeup of your staff? And the final one I went over, and again, there's more, right? There's more to sometimes the current reality and things like that, but this is kind of what I went over with them. And the last one was their day. Like, what do they do all day? Right? What makes up your time? Like, some of the people were, doing a lot of sessions. Like, some of these people were grinding, right? They're doing, 20 sessions, not 20, but they're doing like 10 sessions a day, 10 hours of training sessions a day, which is like exhausting just to even say that. But what does the day look like? Are you having time to work on the business? Are you not? Are you just training all day? Are you, wasting time all day? Like, what is a current typical day? So I'm script that out. And so I actually gave them like a bunch of different pieces of paper, and I had them all write on one piece of paper. All right, what is current reality? Okay, and that's the first thing you need to do to get clarity, is you need to come to grips with what real. And a lot of people are murky on this. How many of you listening to this know exactly how much profit your business is doing? How many of you know how many customers you have? I know there's a period of time where I didn't know how many customers I had in the gym because our software was such a mess. We used MindBody, right? And our software was such a mess. We didn't even know. And I couldn't even tell you. And so some of the lessons here, and I said this to them, some of the lessons here was, maybe your current reality is murky and your future is murky and you don't know what's next because you don't even know what's real right now. And so sometimes it's about getting a grip on the data, the numbers of your business, to be able to know where you are and then be able to kind of make a point B. Like, it's like I started this trip in Providence, Rhode Island. That was point A for me. Okay. Point B for me is my house in New Jersey. All right. But if I don't know where point A is, I don't know where to start. I don't know where I'm going from. And that gets very, very hard and unclear. And so you got to have a really good grasp and a grip on where is your business right now. And I find a lot of people don't know this stuff. This is very, very basic things that people need to know about their business, right? And you got to know it. Okay, so that is step one. So if you weren't able to answer those questions like really, really easily, you kind of need to go back and be like, okay, I got to get a grip on the data part of my business, the number side of things, to be able to even make a decision on where I want to go next. Okay, so that was the first thing. The second thing we basically did is like, I asked them the question. It's like, okay, that's your current reality. Then I ask, what do you want your current reality to be in 12 months? What do you want your current reality to be in 12 months? And then I'm not going to go through them again, but I did with them. And I basically asked them the same questions for where they wanted their business to be in 12 months. And I didn't say like, hey, what's realistic in 12 months? Right? There's a big difference between that question, what's realistic for you to achieve in 12 months versus what do you want? What do you want to have happen? Right? And sometimes what you need to do is really push it and set a goal a little higher than what you're comfortable with. Because maybe you don't hit it, but so what? You'll probably do better than what you did if you set a really, really low goal. So that's the second piece of this is where do I want to be in 12 months time? And I've talked about this a lot. I've talked about this before with visioning and stuff like that. Sometimes people have no idea where they want to be in 5 years. And if you don't know where you want to be in 5 years, fine. But you got to know where you want to be in one. Like that's essential. Okay. And so that's kind of what we did. And we went through the same categories. They said, where do I want to be in 12 months? And then I asked them a third question, and I'll ask this to you. And the question is, why don't you have this today? What are the obstacles that are getting in the way of you having what you want in 12 months right now? What are the challenges? What are the frustrations? What are the things that you're seeing that are getting in the way? Sometimes people, are focusing on too many things, and focus is the problem. That's the obstacle. Sometimes people don't have the right people. Sometimes people can't grasp a specific area of the business. Maybe they just can't get enough leads. That they just don't have enough lead flow to be able to do it, and they have no idea how to do it. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's leadership. Maybe you as the leader and you haven't learned the skills of leadership, and that's getting in the way of where you want to be, in 12 months time. And so it's important to start identifying what are these obstacles? What are these things that are getting in the way? And then creating action steps to be able to remove those obstacles to be able to get what you want. So we kind of identified a lot of those obstacles. And then the final thing we did was we answered the question, what's most important right now? And this is something that I've taught, learned it from EOS, but something called Rocks. But it's basically a series of priorities. Now, those people that I was doing this with, they had a ton of stuff thrown at them after 3 days to perform better. Right? A ton of things they learned. My friend Mark Fisher spoke, like all kinds of people were giving them knowledge, not just on training, but on business and things like that. And sometimes when these things are great, but also sometimes we can go home and get this paralysis by analysis with all this new information that we have. And so what I wanted to do with them was help them define what are the most important things that they need to focus on now to be able to move towards what they want in 12 months, right? And so I told them they can't focus on everything. And one of my mentors told me once, when everything is important, nothing is. And so I told them, I was like, you guys got to pick a couple things. You got to pick a couple things to focus on that's going to help you grow your business. Now, one of the things I was working on them with is growing their business, because all of them kind of came to a business workshop. They came to a business lecture. And I basically asked them, I was like, raise your hand if anyone here put anything a number higher, right, than they did before. And they all raised their hand and laughed. And right. And they were like, of course, yeah, we all want to grow. And so then I went into what are the 3 ways to grow a business? Okay. And here they are. The first way to grow a business is you get more customers. And this is a pretty simple one. Everyone knows this one. I don't need to explain this one to you. The problem with this one is it's usually the only way people think they can grow. And that's not the right thing. That's not the right thing at all, because there's other ways to grow. Here's the second one. The second way to grow is to increase the amount of money that people pay you. So if I have 100 people paying me $200 a month, and I make a change and I have 100 people paying me $300 a month, I just grew my business, but I didn't get any new customers, right? And so that's the second way to grow. And the third way to grow is to get people to stay longer. So if on average someone stays a year and I can change some things about my business to get them to stay 2 years, well, that person's going to be much more valuable and my business is going to grow. And the last piece of that one, you could tag on refer more, right? So if they stay longer and refer more, so those are the three ways to grow. And one of the things that I've been doing a lot of is I've been doing a lot of these full day offsites. And I put a lot of pressure on myself on these offsites where these people come from all around the country. They fly in, they stay at a hotel, they invest a ton of money into it. And I really take it very seriously that they're doing that. And so I have this mindset that I want to try to make that person 10x of what they paid for the day. I don't advertise it. I don't say, hey, if you book this day, you will make 10x for the day. And I'll be honest with you, I'll just tell you what it is. It's $6,000 for the day. I don't tell them they're going to make $60,000 and promise that. I don't promise them. I'm public about my intention to do that. And I don't give a specific deadline, a date. Sometimes people are fast action takers. Sometimes people are slow action takers. But at the end of the day, it is always my intention to get a very, very help this person get a very big return on investment. And in order to do that, I've been kind of dialing and focusing in on a few different levers that are pretty big movers to be able to grow a business in some type of a 10x investment of that day. And I went over them with the group, and I'll go over them with you today. So the first biggest lever is price. That is the largest lever that you could pull in a business, and it is the one thing that's going to make you the money the fastest. If you go from charging $200 a month to $250 a month, you instantly will grow your business overnight, and not just your revenue, you'll grow your profit because there's no increase in cost to be able to raise your prices. Now, the problem is there's a lot of fear around that. And I talked about this a ton, but there's a lot of fear around people raising their prices, especially on current members. And there's a lot of people out there preaching this, you never raise your rates and grandfather them in forever. And I couldn't disagree more. And here's why I can't disagree more. It's not a principle thing. I just have seen it work so many times that it's ludicrous to me that someone would be giving this advice. And I have helped gym owners make so much more money, and they're not going to hell because they raised their prices, and they're not going to heaven because they didn't. It's just like I'm not sure why we deal with in such absolutes with some of these things, but the reality is this is the fastest way for you to make more money. And here's the thing. When the business makes more money, the staff is happier, the clients are happier, the owner's happier and less stressed. Like, everybody wins. You're not, by a price raise of $30 a month, going to all of a sudden put one of your clients in the poorhouse. So sometimes we got to get over the emotional states of things and make good, smart business decisions. There's no rule that says you can't raise your prices. And Starbucks does it seemingly every week. Vanessa's Americano is now up to like $7. It's like absolutely ridiculous. So that's the first lever, right? It's price. And the biggest lever is raising it on current members. The second biggest lever is raising it on future members going forward. And then there's another lever with doing this with the frequency of when people come. So, for example, if someone goes from 2 days a week to 3 days a week, and you can create some type of a system that gets people from 2 days a week to 3 days a week, they're going to pay more. And since they're going to pay more, they're going to be worth more and the business is going to grow. So that's kind of the first lever is price. The second lever is offers. What offers can you make? And a lot of times when someone comes in, whether they do our accelerator program, whether they just do the 6-week search, or even if they just join Mastermind, we try to, from our resource library, give them an offer to run. Now, a lot of them are running offers all the time, right? And we find that it works really well if they're not running offers and we start running an offer for somebody, that it's massive. And it's funny, one of my friends who was a speaker at the Perform Better conference, Colin McCarty, he got my, and I told you, he's my buddy and he buys stuff from me all the time. He's my friend. I was like, dude, you don't have to buy it. I'll just give it to you. But he's like my buddy and he buys stuff from me. It's pretty funny. But he bought my 50 Strong program and he told me he ran it and it like absolutely crushed. Right? Well, that's an example of an offer. It's something that you put out there, and it could be something that people buy and purchase as a non-member. It could be something that someone purchases as a current member, likely at a cheaper rate. But it's basically an offer that you're putting out there that's going to attract new customers. And a lot of times when you put money behind it, if you run ads for it, if you send emails around it, and you really do some good marketing around a specific offer, that's going to be a great, great lever to pull. One of the things that a lot of my clients have done, and this is one of the reasons why we give playbooks in SPF, but is the sweepstakes, right? And the sweepstakes is this offer that you put out there and it generates a crap ton of leads. And basically the way it works is you put this offer out and you give away, I don't know, one person a 3-month kitchen sink membership, right? And one person gets it. And let's say 100 people applied. Well, you got 100 people to follow up with to make them an offer to bring them in through the door. And we kind of go through 3 buckets, right? The first bucket is who you pick to win. The second bucket is who you call and personally call and say, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you filling this application out. You didn't win, but I really think that we can help you. And, you took the time to fill out the application. And what I'd like to do is offer you whatever you want to offer them with. Sometimes we do at GFP a free month. You could do a discounted month or something like that. But you're taking the other people on the list that are very qualified people, and you're going out and you're making a very, very, very specific one-to-one offer. It's not a blind email. It's not just, hey, buy this for $97. It's I'm calling them on the phone and I'm telling them they didn't win. And then I'm telling them I want to give them some kind of a gift or some kind of a very discounted thing. And the third bucket would be everybody. That would be you send an email and, thanks for applying. Unfortunately, you didn't win, but you can join us, for $97 or something like that. Like that's an example of an offer. You put something like out there and you do that enough, right? I always talk about wrestling, and wrestling they just had SummerSlam, but they also have WrestleMania. They also have the Royal Rumble. These are specific events they have every year. And you could do the same thing for your offers. You could run a sweepstakes every summer. You could run a fall fat loss challenge every fall. You could run 50 Strong, the program I talked about with Colin. You could run that in the wintertime, right? And you have these specific offers that serve as kind of almost like surges to get new customers and to get new people. And a lot of times people like poo-poo these things. They go, 6-week challenges are dead and stuff like that. And it's like, I always laugh and I watch my clients doing this. Some my clients, Joe Riggio and Dan Goodman, they're like kings of the challenge. They run these things all the time and they crush it. They absolutely crush it. these challenges, right? And they're like, everyone's saying don't do this. Like, why would I stop doing this? Like, they're bringing in tons of money. Like, we had so many people run a program called Summer Slim Down, which is a playbook that we created for the summertime. When everyone else is slow and sitting around and like, oh my God, everyone goes away. And I got clients that are killing it with Summer Slim Down, right? And so these offers and these challenges are great ways to ring the register. And so one of the times when someone comes to me for either consulting day or joins the accelerator program is we will link them up with a run this. Here's the ad copy. Here's the creative we typically use. Here's the targeting to use. Here's the emails we would send. And a lot of times we just give it to them and they implement quickly because we give it to them and it works really well. So that's the second lever to pull. The third lever, I actually didn't go over this lever. I thought about it after the fact, but it's a really, really big one. But the third lever is a reactivation play, right? And so if you think about low-hanging fruit and you think about how do I make a good chunk of money in a short amount of time and not spend a lot of money to do it. Well, shoot, man, that's reactivation right there. And so you have a couple buckets to choose from with a reactivation play. You have, first bucket is unconverted leads, right? So if you've been in business for a long time and you've been marketing, I'm sure you have generated leads that never ever became customers. And maybe some of these people never even talked to you on the phone. Maybe some of these people never answered any text messages or anything. You almost don't even believe this person actually is a real person. Well, here to tell you that there's a lot of people out there on your list that will buy, that they just haven't bought yet. And so one of the first things I would do in creating a leverageable asset is some type of strategy via text message, via email, via just phone call around the people that are unconverted leads. The second bucket that I would go after is the people that are unconverted trial or consultations. These are the people that had a consultation with you that just said no. They said it was too expensive. They said it was, not the right fit or whatever. They said they need to go talk to their husband and they ghosted you. Those are a really, really good group of people because they told you no, but what they did was they made it all the way into your gym, right? You know they exist. You know they're actually a real person. And I'm going to tell you that life circumstances change all the time. Sometimes people, when they try something out, they don't have a job and all of a sudden they get a job and life changes. Sometimes people had no money and then their husband, acquires a company or buys a company or sells a company and they're loaded. Sometimes someone dies and they inherit money. People's circumstances change, especially if that person came in for a consult 5 years ago. If you had a 40-year-old woman that came in for a consult 5 years ago, her life circumstances have likely changed, right? Maybe her kids are a lot older and she has more time and she's not as tired and she has sleep now, right? And before, when she came in last time, her kids were like, not sleeping. And so she was exhausted and she was cranky and she saw the price and she said no. Her life circumstances very well could have changed. The final bucket is past members. And this is the best bucket. This is my favorite bucket, right? This is the bucket where you go after the people that used to pay you money. And it's funny, like I talk about this a lot, and I talked about this in my presentation. Most people don't leave sticking their middle fingers up at you saying, you suck, I'm never coming back. Most people leave because life gets in the way. Life got in the way. And so they left. And things change and people get bored. And a lot of times people don't come back because they're kind of like almost embarrassed they left. Or they feel like you don't like them anymore because they left. And that's not true. And it's funny, I talked about this at the event and someone came up to me and was like, that was one of the best explanations of how to get someone back. And I talked about me leaving jiu-jitsu. And I've left jiu-jitsu 3 times and I'm embarrassed to go back. I really am. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go back. Maybe not. My back still hurts. But here's the best way for them to get me back. I'm probably not going to come back on my own. And honestly, I'm probably more likely to go to a different school where if I quit, I only quit that because I quit the same school 3 times. And that's where my son goes. But I'm probably more apt if I do go back to jiu-jitsu to do it at a different school. But if the school that I quit from called me, the sensei called me and he said, "Hey, Vince, I know, you started jiu-jitsu late in life and you're a former athlete and you have, injuries and things like that. And I know, there was some period of time where you were in the white belt classes and a lot of the kids in the white belt class are a lot younger. And I saw it, they were getting after you because they didn't want to lose to a 46-year-old guy, and you're a big dude. So they didn't want to lose to you. So I know there were some battles that you had to go through. And he's like, one of the things I would do is when I come back, what I would do is start, and this is what I would tell him to say to me, right? And what you should do is for the first 3 months that you come, or first month you come, whatever you're comfortable with, let's do privates. Let's do twice a week private lessons. And we'll go nice and slow and nice and easy. We'll go over the basics and we'll ease you into it. And we'll even develop, because I know flexibility was an issue for you. We'll even develop over the first 2 months a flexibility program for you to work on that's specific to jiu-jitsu to help keep you going, right? And then what we're going to do is when you do come back and go into the group sessions, instead of putting you in the white belt classes, what I want you to do is go into the all belts classes. And because the all belts class is going to have purple belts and brown belts and black belts, and those guys, they'll roll with you and they'll teach you as you go. They won't try and crush you. They won't let you win, but they won't try and crush you like the white belt kids did. And so if this guy said all that to me, I'd be like, all right, dude, I'm in. Let's go. Where's the privates? How much? 150 a session? Done. All day long. Right? I'd be all in. If he just called me and said that to me, I'd be all in. And that's kind of almost the approach we need to take. Like, think about the member that left 3 years ago. Dude, I saw a member of my gym at the movies the other day. He got so fat. So fat. I was just like, I couldn't even believe it was the same person. I was just like shocked. I was like, and I was double taking. He didn't see me, but I was double taking. I was like, is that him? And I looked carefully. I almost like followed him a little bit. And I was like, that is him. Oh my God. He must have gained 50 pounds. How many of your past clients have left and gained 50 pounds? They're embarrassed. They don't want to come back. And what did I tell you? Oh, I don't want to come back. I need to start working out before I come back to the gym. The stupidest thing ever. We all know how stupid that is, right? But maybe they just need a phone call from you. And maybe it's good that you do reactivation plays and you get people back. But sometimes, and for us doing small group training, if they're paying $400 or $500 a month, isn't it worth your time for this phone call or this text message that they need? You never know if you're going to save someone's life. So that was the third lever point, or whatever I was saying. I don't even remember what I was calling it before. The third leverage point. Oh no, the third lever. Yeah, the third lever. The fourth one. What was the fourth one? I don't even remember. I went long on those. The fourth one was referrals. Doing something to generate referrals because you already have customers. Your customers are assets. They're assets that pay you money, but they're also assets in that they have networks filled with people that they know that could become your perfect clients. And sometimes a great lever is to, I don't even know if I'm saying that anymore, right? Sometimes a great lever is to do things that activate referrals. And so the one example I gave is like, what if, and I can't believe people don't do this, what if every time somebody comes to you and signs up for a membership at your gym, you give them a free month to give as a gift to a friend every time. So if you sign up 10 new members a month, that's 10 chances to get a customer. If you get one customer out of 10 to refer you a customer, that's 12 new clients a year. Why wouldn't we do that? What is the reason why you wouldn't do something like that? And then there's also situations where you could, do it like we do it with the holiday card system, where you around the holidays you give them a gift to give to a friend. The point is that your customers are assets that not only pay you money, but they also are opportunities to drive referrals. That's a lever that you can pull on. And sometimes what's standing in the way is just you asking to do that. And the last one I went over was strategic partnerships. And this is one of the really, so like, I said your customers are assets. There are other companies in your area that are assets for you, and you can be assets for them. And so I gave them the line, other people's customers. Other people's customers are already paid for. They're not leads that need to be paid for. They're leads that the other person already paid for. So if you go to a salon and that salon owner has a list of 5,000 people, he already put the work in to do that. And most of the time, if you align with the right people, there are the exact people that you want on people's lists. And so doing things with other people's customers is a really, really great idea. We recently brought over about 20 people to a yoga studio and did a private yoga class. We called the yoga studio and we said, hey, I'd like to hire one of your teachers to do a private session for 20 people. And we're going to bring 20 people from my gym, and then we're going to bring them for a class, and I want to pay for the class and pay for the coach's time. And they were like, holy shit, of course, thank you so much. Because what I did was I sat down and I thought about, all right, I'd like to create a strategic partnership with this yoga studio. And the first thing I need to do is be of value to them. That is what you lead with. You don't lead with, how can this yoga studio get me more customers? You don't lead with that. You lead with, how can I help this yoga studio make their dreams come true? What does this yoga studio want? They want new customers. They want to make more money. Well, I just did two things. I paid them, and then I brought them 20 potential customers, and actually three of our customers actually signed up. They will do anything we want. They're like so happy. They love us because we did something for them. So sometimes in these strategic partnerships, you have to think about it. One of the ways that we work with a lot of joint ventures is called the joint venture sweepstakes. We have a whole playbook about this. But the joint venture sweepstakes is all about going to a specific group of people that you share a target market with and saying, hey, we want to give away 10 free memberships to your group. And they're like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you. And so you give them away, and people say kind of a similar thing as the sweepstakes that I talked about before, but it's more of a specific list that you go after, right? And let's just say I do it with a salon, and the salon sends it out, and there's 50 people that opt in to win the free month, whatever it is. And you pick 10 winners, and then you follow up with the other people that didn't win, and you make them, similar offer. Probably not as good of an offer. Maybe you give away a free month. Maybe you give away 2 weeks free, or maybe 1 week free, or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's a way to get people in your door, and it's all people that you wouldn't have had access to that you would through their list. So those are all lever points for this taking your business to the next level, right? What are the things you're going to do? All you want to grow. I told you the 3 ways to grow. And these are some of the lever points that you could, I still don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm sorry if I'm not messing it up. Sound stupid. So what are these things that you can do? So there's 3 ways to grow. Let me recap them. All right. Get more clients, make more money per client, get them to stay longer. A lot of the things I went over are leverage points for doing those things, for growing your company. So if we're going to come full circle, I talked about a lot today. I've had plenty of time because I'm in the car. I have no idea how long I've been talking for. We talked about clarity. And one of the most important things in clarity is getting a grip on reality. What is real right now? And there's certain data points and certain numbers that are telling you what is real. I gave you a bunch of them. Then we got to go, where do we want to be? Where do we want to be? 12 months. What's it look like? Paint the picture. Okay? We talked about What's the obstacle standing in the way? How do we remove some of those obstacles? And then the final thing I just talked about was, what is the things that we want to focus on? We can't focus on everything. And if we want to grow our company, we want to pick a few small things to focus on to be able to take it to the next level. So hopefully that was helpful. This is actually what we're doing in our new program called Accelerator. And it's really cool. It's like you work with us for 6 weeks and we pretty much kind of help you implement these things. So sometimes we'll work on the price thing. Because a lot of times, I can give you what it is and like raise prices. You're like, I don't know how to do that, or run the offer. Like, I don't know what offers to run. And we have all this stuff kind of done already. And so we can kind of in 6 weeks, fast track everything because of all the resources that we have. So the 6 weeks includes, you're with a coach, you work one-on-one with a coach, you get a meeting once a week. And in the very beginning, what we do is we have this plan and we create the plan and then we help you implement the plan. And a lot of times it's, kind of helping you implement some of the things that I talked about today. Each person's different in terms of what they'll do. Some people just need one thing. Some people need 3 things. It really just depends on where your business is at. Right now. So that program it's going on. We are super excited about it. It's kind of new and it's how a lot of people are kind of getting in our world. A lot of people, mastermind's a big investment, right? It's a lot. It's a big commitment. It's an annual commitment. It's a big investment. And sometimes people need something to kind of bridge the gap and get started and even make some money, right away. So if you liked what you heard today and you want to chat with my man Leo about a spot in Accelerator, there's not a hard start date. You can start whenever, but you'd basically book a call with him. He would tell you a little bit about the program and get some insight about your gym and see if it's the right thing, for you. If you are interested in that, I'm going to put a link in the show notes to book a call with Leo. Just go click that link and go to his calendar and book a call with him, and he can tell you all about our new Accelerator program to be able to take your gym to the next level and get some clarity around what you want. Appreciate you guys. To everyone I saw perform better, so great seeing you. It was such an awesome event and super excited for the next one. And I'll see you on the next podcast. Peace.